How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Jam Bands. Alright, today we are talking about my favorite instrument, the guitar. We're going to be talking about some tips, what can make you more comfortable on the guitar, and be able to put yourself in situations and find out where you're going to go. This is basically the video I wish I had when I was learning guitar. Pretty much for me, what you'll need to know and what you kind of don't. So we're going to be going over 3 things today: scales, pedals, and jams. So this is not for the beginner. This is for an intermediate guitar player, someone who's looking to get better with soloing or improvising on the guitar. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will be jamming yourself to different bands. And I should say, I'm not a professional guitarist. These are just things that worked for me, that helped me learn. So this video is pretty much the video I wish I had when I was learning guitar, things that I wish people had told me, and just like kind of a shortcut to pretending like you know what you're doing. Alright, so you got your guitar. What do we do now? If your answer was tuned, then you're correct. If your answer was anything else, then you're wrong. So tuning your guitar is probably the most important thing you could do. Some guitars will stay in tune longer while the other is an Ibanez. Generally speaking, electric guitars will go out of tune faster than acoustic guitars. So upkeeping your guitar as far as tuning is very, very important, especially if you're jamming along to something. So you may be thinking, I need a tuning pedal, I need to get all of this gear so I can get my guitar working. And that's not necessarily the truth. You can do a lot of things without having any pedals. Obviously, the easiest way to tune your guitar is hooking up into a tuning pedal and then tuning it. But if you don't have that luxury, you can also go onto YouTube and look up guitar tuner, and you can actually tune by ear. You can listen to what those notes are, and then you can actually tune your guitar to that video. Alright, so we're going to get into the first thing that we're going to talk about today, which is scales, and not the reptilian kind. Alright, so there are 2 scales that I use all the time. The 2 scales that I utilize almost every day are the major scale and the minor pentatonic scale. One of the things that really stressed me out when I was learning guitar was all the different strings and jumping back and forth in between them. So getting these scales down on even one string is really beneficial. Alright, now we're going to move on to the second thing today, which is pedals. As I said earlier, pedals probably aren't as vital as you think when you first get your guitar. You can do a lot with just the dry sound of a guitar. Also, if you have any sort of recording program like Ableton or Pro Tools or anything like that, playing through the program with audio effects on is also pretty much like the same thing as having pedals. So having pedals is not super necessary when you first start out, but they do help a lot with shaping your sound. As far as which pedals to buy, I would definitely start off with a tuning pedal. Having a tuning pedal is really important because it means you won't have to rely on things like YouTube videos or phone apps to tune your guitar, and it'll get you playing a lot faster. The next pedal I recommend purchasing is a reverb pedal. Reverb is everywhere, and it's applied to almost every single instrument you can think of. This pedal definitely helps inspire confidence in your playing and will make your guitar tone a lot more interesting. The last one I'd recommend is a drive pedal. Drive will give you that crunch and harmonics that make your guitar spark. Drive helps a lot with beginners because of its ability to make an accident kind of sound intentional. But as I said, they're not an absolute necessity for your guitar setup. Now moving on to jams. Something I wish I knew earlier on when I was learning guitar was if you like a certain band or you like a certain song, put their songs on and play along with it, because that's really the best way to learn. Playing to something you like will definitely help you learn faster because you'll be more engaged in what you're listening to, and you'll want to improv a little bit more and get more creative with something that you've already heard. When I was learning guitar, it was The Killers. The Killers' discography is a good place to start, just in my opinion, because the music isn't very difficult and even beginners can kind of follow along and know what's going to come next. So play to what you like. So to put these ideas into practice, I've made a very simple song. I'm going to play guitar over it and show you some of the ideas that I've talked about throughout this video, and follow along if you want to. Alright, I've written this song in C major just so we can utilize both the major scale and the minor pentatonic scale. So you can use both of these scales in this song. You can play along if you wanted to as well. So I'm going to do a take just using the major scale up here, just to show you that you can do a lot of things with just one of these scales. So as you can see, there's a lot of benefit to learning these scales. You can use these on almost any song. Now I'm going to demonstrate the use of the minor pentatonic scale on this simple song. So using these scales, there's really no such thing as a wrong note. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. Especially with the minor pentatonic scale, you can add a lot of notes to it and it just kind of sounds like you know what you're doing. So I'm going to demonstrate using the minor pentatonic scale and just adding a ton of notes in there. Just to show you that there's really no rhyme or reason, but you can do whatever you want with the guitar and it's really kind of whatever you want it to be. Another thing to talk about is fingerstyle, which is pretty much where you lose the pick and use your fingers. This is more commonly found when you're playing acoustic guitar, but doing it on an electric guitar does sound pretty cool. So I'm going to demonstrate what fingerstyle is, which is pretty much playing the guitar with your hands. Playing the guitar with your hands, duh. So with fingerstyle, it really gives you some more options as far as what you want to do. I personally prefer fingerstyle just because it gives me more creativity, I feel. But you can also get some really cool effects if you're using a pick. I'm going to show you the last little tip of the video, which is something I like to call selective strumming. That's just the name I came up with. I am definitely not the best at this, so this is going to be a trial and error kind of thing. So for this trick, you're going to need a pick. Alright. And this trick really works well with hammer-ons and pull-offs. I'm going to show you what I mean by this selective strumming kind of thing. So you can kind of hear it here. I'm strumming a lot of the strings, but you're only hearing. So what I'm doing here is I'm muting everything before and then I'm using a different finger to pick what I want to hear. And I'm playing over it kind of aggressively. You kind of get the idea here. So I'm going to show you that in practice now. So like I said previously, always try to practice with something that you like because it makes you want to focus on it more and it makes you a better musician. I hope you guys picked up some tricks and maybe even played along. Also, if you guys are interested, the song for this video is linked in the description. And if you want to continue jamming with Jaboy, my EPs are linked on the top of my YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, check out the first episode of Jam Bands where I made a song in an hour. Alrighty guys, I hope you learned something. Remember to play along with songs that you like because you're definitely going to have more focus and most likely to play longer. Alright, that's all the tips I have. Make sure to have a great day and subscribe if you want to.